What caused an ATV crash that killed one teenager and injured another teenager in Laurel County? Tonight we've learned some new details about that investigation.
The Attorney General is taking action against a Scott County cemetery that's received numerous complaints.
An animal watchdog group makes some new claims against the Cincinnati Zoo following the death of a gorilla over the weekend.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. Investigators call it a horrible accident. Tonight we're learning more about an ATV crash that killed one teenager and injured another.
The Laurel County coroner says 17-year-old Cheyenne Bowles died last night when this ATV went over an embankment off South Old Whitley Road. Phil Pendleton has the latest on the investigation. It's our top story at 6.
The teenagers were out riding near both of their homes and headed down a hill on South Old Whitley Road when something caused them to crash.
The ATV was going down a hill and came into a left-hand curve, couldn't make the left-hand curve, traveled over about a 15-foot embankment.
Both the 17-year-old driver and his passenger, 17-year-old Cheyenne Bowles, were rushed to London St. Joe Hospital, and that's where Bowles died about an hour later.
From what we can tell, it was just a horrible accident.
I spoke this morning very briefly to the driver of the ATV. That 17-year-old came back to the scene to try to retrieve some belongings. He told me he had just graduated from here at South Laurel High School, and Cheyenne, or Shay as her friends called her, was looking forward to her senior year. Shay owned the ATV, and friends who came to look at the crash scene said she had talked about the brakes not working properly. Police say neither had a helmet on, but that's not required under Kentucky law.
Not for ATVs, because ATVs are off-road vehicles. They're not to be ridden on the road.
Police say they do not anticipate any charges in the crash, and they don't suspect alcohol or drug use. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Investigators say they are not releasing the name of the driver of that ATV because he is a juvenile. This video has just been sent into our newsroom showing a serious crash in Pulaski County. Investigators say at least 2 tractor trailers and a car were involved in a crash this afternoon at the intersections of Highway 914 and 1247 near Somerset. The Pulaski County Emergency Management Director says that one person was airlifted to the hospital. 2 others were taken by ground ambulance. A detour has been set up in that area, and environmental cleanup teams have been called in. No word on how long that intersection will be closed. A strange sight outside a home in Nicholasville this afternoon. A crash sent a dump truck into a front yard. It happened along East Maple Street. Witnesses say a car pulled out in front of the truck, and the driver of the truck swerved to avoid a collision. But the truck still hit the car, and the truck ended up just a few feet from the house. The driver of the car had to be cut out of the vehicle, but police say no one was seriously injured.
Tonight, the owner of a Scott County cemetery faces a lawsuit. Kentucky Attorney General Andy Beshear says Crestlawn Cemetery took thousands of dollars from customers for grave markers but didn't install them. Beshear says the lawsuit comes after many people complained to his office. Victor Puente talked to some people who have loved ones buried at the cemetery.
The Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against this cemetery and its owner. Andy Beshear claims they were taking money for monuments that were never installed.
For over a year, Crestlawn Cemetery and Dale Shackelford betrayed Kentucky and Scott County families, and it's gonna stop today.
Earlier today, Attorney General Andy Beshear announced a lawsuit filed against the owner of Crestlawn Cemetery, Dale Shackelford. The suit claims Shackelford violated Kentucky's Consumer Protection Act by failing to maintain the cemetery. People with loved ones buried there have told us they paid Shackelford for a headstone a year ago and are still waiting.
It's 2016 and we've still yet to see that marker placed. We have a piece of paper with tape on top of the marker in order to know where he's at.
Beshear said they weren't certain how much money Shackelford had received because he didn't respond to their subpoena asking for that information. His isn't the only agency investigating the cemetery. Scott County Sheriff Tony Hampton said he was talking to the Commonwealth's attorney about 25 different complaints and the possibility of criminal charges.
There are several that could fit. That'll be up to, again, Gordy Shaw and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office to choose which charge is most appropriate for these cases.
We hope that both issues are solved, both the maintenance and the upkeep of the cemetery, And we also want to see, people that have been wronged to make this right so that the grieving process can continue the way it should.
Bashir is asking for anyone who paid for services at Crest Lawn that weren't delivered to contact his office. In Scott County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Attorney General Bashir said Shackelford bought Crest Lawn Cemetery in 2014. He said the previous owner was not a party in the suit.
Tonight, Lexington police are still looking for the people responsible for the city's latest homicide. Police tell us that this afternoon they have no updates in this case. Lexington police say someone shot 36-year-old Demetrius Henry early yesterday morning in a parking lot near Village and Cambridge Drives. He later died at UK Hospital. Witnesses say the person who shot Henry drove off in an SUV, but police say they do not have any information about that person.
It has been another muggy but dry day across the Bluegrass, but it looks like storms will soon be returning. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has an early check of your forecast. Hi, Chris.
Hi, guys. We've been managing 3-4 days in a row now of some mainly dry weather across the area. And what's coming up over the next few days? Some scattered stuff. Not a total washout by any stretch of the imagination. Let's concentrate on the positive. That's another great afternoon and early evening across central and eastern Kentucky. We still have that little bank of some stubborn clouds on top of the Lexington area. You see that into Florence as well. Then look at Frankfort, more sun. Look at Moorhead, Jackson, Jenkins, plenty of sunshine into eastern Kentucky where you have the clouds. Notice the little difference now, 81, 82 degrees outside of the clouds. We're into the 84, 85, 86 degree range, but overall can't really complain about what is going on out there now. Defender Radar Network, showers, thunderstorms scattered, smothered, covered into southeastern Kentucky, right along the Virginia border counties, stretching back toward the southwest into northern sections of Tennessee. Overall, not a big deal. Most areas stay dry this evening, still 70-ish by the time we hit 11 o'clock this evening. When I come back in just a few minutes, we'll talk about how the air turns muggy over the next few days. That will promote some thunderstorms to pop, and then, oh yeah, cooler weather in the 7-day outlook in a few.
It is still the topic of conversation all around the country, and today even presidential candidate Donald Trump weighed in on the Cincinnati Zoo's decision to kill a gorilla after a child fell into its exhibit.
And this comes as an animal watchdog group is making new claims against the zoo. Hillary Thornton has the latest.
I think it's a very tough call.
Harambe's death, a continuing topic of discussion, so much so presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump was asked for his thoughts on the situation earlier today at a news conference.
I mean, probably they didn't have a choice. You have a child, a young child is at stake.
The decision to shoot the 17-year-old gorilla is one the zoo director continues to firmly defend.
We did not take the shooting of Harambe lightly, but that child's life was in danger. People who question that don't understand that you can't take a risk with a silverback.
However, a group says the zoo was negligent and is to blame, filing a complaint with the Department of Agriculture.
The Cincinnati Zoo, by not having sufficient enclosures which allowed this child to enter the gorilla enclosure, has violated the Animal Welfare Act.
The group Stop Animal Exploitation now claiming to have proof that the zoo is not up to date on safety restrictions and that they have received previous code citations for fences and barriers.
What we're seeing here is a facility with a pattern of violating a federal law, and in this situation, that violation led directly to the death of Harambe.
The group's complaint calling for the maximum penalty, which is a $10,000 fine per infraction per animal. Meanwhile, the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office says police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the 4-year-old boy entering the gorilla exhibit. Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
WKYT reporter Caitlin Sentner went to the Cincinnati Zoo this afternoon. She took this picture outside the gorilla exhibit, which is still closed. As you can see, people have left flowers and notes for the gorilla that was killed. The Louisville Zoo also has a gorilla exhibit which looks like a forest. And just like in Cincinnati, the zoo has an emergency response team. Zoo leaders say its members practice different scenarios frequently and often check walls, locks, cages, and doors around the exhibit. In Louisville, the exhibit is surrounded by glass and mesh.
You'd have to either break safety glass, 3 panes of safety glass to try to get through, and if you've ever hit safety glass, you know it's almost impossible.
Louisville Zoo's emergency response team also trains with the city's police department. The zoo's gorilla forest opened in 2002.
New tonight, workers at a Breathitt County bank had a mess to clean up today after an SUV hit the building. It happened this morning at Citizens Bank on Main Street in Jackson. Breathitt County Emergency Management says the SUV somehow jumped the curb and hit the building. Investigators say an elderly woman was driving the SUV, but she wasn't injured. No one else was hurt either. Investigators say crews spent the rest of the day repairing the damage to that building.
With the mosquito population increasing and summer vacation season getting underway now, UK healthcare leaders want to make sure that people take precautions against the Zika virus. Doctors say the virus is spread by mosquitoes or it's transmitted sexually. UK healthcare leaders urge people, especially pregnant women who are traveling to the Caribbean or South America, to be careful. Those areas have seen many cases of the Zika virus.
It is important that if you have traveled within that time frame, if you have a female partner, if a male has traveled and they have a female partner that's pregnant, that they avoid sex during their pregnancy for 6 months.
Doctors say symptoms of the Zika virus include a rash, fever, and joint pain, and it's been linked to birth defects. Doctors say there is no vaccine for the Zika virus.
Kentucky State University is named an interim president, and today was his first day on the job. Kentucky State University is named an interim president, and today was his first day on the job. Like we said, Dr. Aaron Thompson takes over for Raymond Burse, who resigned last week. Dr. Thompson was a tenured sociology professor at Eastern Kentucky University before coming to KSU. He'll serve a year as interim president until the university can find a permanent replacement. He says his priorities include dealing with the university's budget problems and making sure students receive a quality education.
We'll go through a variety of processes to make sure that we have the kind of academic programs that will be exactly what I call 21st century, that will work on accomplishing the vision that the board has laid out and hopefully I can live out.
Dr. Thompson will also be on a search committee that's in charge of finding a new police chief in Richmond.
Firefighters have burned some rooms of a Lexington home, but it's all part of some important training. Next, how students will be learning later this week.
And then we'll tell you about the national recognition the Kentucky Governor's Mansion is receiving tonight.
When severe storms roll in, we go to work to keep you and your family safe with continuous coverage on air, on WKYT.com, and wherever you are with our news and weather apps. First Alert Severe Weather Days, only on WKYT.
At Gates Nissan in Richmond, we've got a huge selection of new Frontier trucks. Own a 16 Frontier 4x4 extended cab V6 for only $27,990. At Gates Nissan in Richmond, we sell new Nissans for less because we can.
DQ funnel cake a la mode? Hold on.
For the next hours. Cloudy tomorrow.
Funnel cake has a new home. The DQ Bakes new funnel cake a la mode with the world famous DQ soft serve and your favorite topping. This is fan food, not fast food.
Funnel cake a la mode. During the final week of Sleep Outfitters Memorial Day sale, we give you 3 great reasons to take home a Tempur-Pedic. 1. Find Tempur-Pedic queen sets on a Tempur-Up adjustable base for just $34 a month. 2. Receive a Visa prepaid gift card worth up to $400 with your select Tempur adjustable purchase. 3. Get up to 6 years no interest financing on many Tempur-Pedic sets. It's 3 great reasons to buy Tempur-Pedic during the final days of our Memorial Day sale at Sleep Outfitters.
What we do is not about sickness. It's about living. All of life's moments, big and small. Each triumph and challenge. Because you were made to live and live well. And we're here to make sure you do. Let us show you how care is supposed to be. Lexington Clinic. Your doctors for life.
Hitting someone at 35 miles per hour is like throwing them off a 4-story building. A little extra speed is a lot more deadly. Slow down, Lexington.
CareSource insures thousands of members in Kentucky, but we're not built on numbers. We're built on compassion and care. Our commitment? People over profit. CareSource. Caring for the Commonwealth.
When you play Kentucky lottery games like 5-Card Cash, college students all over Kentucky are dealt a winning hand.
Fueling imagination.
Funding education.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on 98.1 The Bull.
At Gates Nissan in Richmond, we've got a huge selection of new Frontier trucks. Own a 16 Frontier 4x4 extended cab V6 for only $27,990. At Gates Nissan in Richmond, we sell new Nissans for less because we can.
Keep up with the latest news on WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
New tonight, some future Kentucky firefighters are receiving important hands-on training this week.
The annual State Fire School in Lexington is focusing on arson investigations right now. And today, firefighters pre-burned 4 rooms. Later this week, students will take a closer look at each of those fires.
Some will be accidental, some will be intentional. And what we'll do is we'll come back Friday, and the students will go through every room and try and have to determine what the cause of fire is.
Students will also use what they find in each room to prepare a case for a civil or criminal trial, and that will lead to a mock trial so students can see the entire investigative process. Kentucky's fire school is more than 80 years old. Firefighters say it's the oldest in the country.
New tonight, the Kentucky Governor's Mansion is receiving some national attention thanks to its landscaping. The Lawn Starter blog has named it the most beautifully landscaped governor's mansion in the country. The grounds include rain, vegetable, and formal gardens, along with an activity area. The Kentucky Governor's Mansion is more than 100 years old.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Sun and clouds fighting it out into parts of central Kentucky, and in Lexington over the past few hours we've had a little more in the way of some clouds, but notice some breaks in there, and I'm picking up on this. Almost looks like a little hole in the clouds showing up just out in front of the station here, so some blue skies ready to creep on back into town. 82 degrees. Humidity is slowly coming up a little bit. Those northeasterly winds are going to swing to the southwest. You know what that means? Muggy air back in the bluegrass over the next few days. Currently 80 to 85 in much of central and eastern Kentucky. Tomorrow, if you get enough sunshine, the first 90 of the year may try to show up somewhere across Kentucky. Haven't found a thermometer that hit 90 just yet. We'll keep looking, though. Maybe on that first day of summer for the weather folks, that is tomorrow. Slow-moving showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, parts of Letcher County, Harlan County, into Bell and Whitley. Rest of the area, A-OK. That humid flow coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Cold front to our west, that's way to our west still, has chilly and cool air coming in behind it. We're going to get that to kind of clash with the humid and the warm stuff out ahead of it. So as we go through the afternoon tomorrow, we run the risk, a better chance, by the way, for some scattered thunderstorms. Nothing that's going to be all day. A lot of folks will stay dry through tomorrow. And look at that afternoon temperature. Many of us should be upper 80s. I'm looking for that 90 into at least one thermometer before the day is through. Then I'm done with it for the summer. I'll take the 70s and 80s all day, every day this summer. Right now, we see temperatures by 11 o'clock with the hour by hour, mainly upper 60s. Starting out the day tomorrow with a little steam in the air. Noontime, it's already 80 to 85. Look at the afternoon. One of those days we're going to get close to the upper 80s, if not tickling 90, but you got to watch for a shower or thunderstorm to pop up into the afternoon and through the evening. Back into one of those air masses that any storm that goes up over the next 2 or 3 days will have a lot of juice to work with, so some heavier downpours will be possible. Best chance, I think, for that comes for the day on Thursday with a cold front making its way across the area. And then as we go toward Friday, we may see that press just far enough to the south to give northern sections of the area a mainly dry day on Friday. Then the changes start to show up over the weekend with some more showers and some storms around. The next week, rainfall forecast from some of the computer models, generally 1 inch plus into many areas. And the pattern, I have no changes in this. We've talked about for a week now that eventually we're going to turn cooler into the first week of June. By this weekend, jet stream takes a big dip, so it's mild and downright cool, if not chilly, from the Great Lakes into parts of New England. That's a setup that will carry us into Monday of next week. By the way, if you're just wondering, anytime the jet stream takes a big dip, it's cooler behind it. That's what we're going to be seeing as we go into this weekend and early next week especially. What does that mean for the forecast? I know, that's all you really want to know, right? I just like showing off the jet stream sometimes. Temperatures will be mainly into the 70s this week and into early next week, guys.
Are you suggesting that we don't really pay attention to the other part, just that 7 days?
Or jet stream, just gets no respect.
Throw
it
away, right?
Yep.
Chris, thank you.
Up next, the latest from Rick Pitino on the investigation of his program.
Pitino holding a news conference today, and of course he was asked about it. Is he concerned about more penalties? And John Calipari on Ty Wynyard, who will be on the court this week representing his country. Sports is next.
Stay connected to the news that matters to you, like WKYT on Facebook.
At Bryant Heating and Cooling, your home comfort is our only mission.
That's why maintenance matters.
With spring around the corner, now's the perfect time. Schedule your preventative maintenance, just $64.95.
It's a small price to pay for peace of mind.
If your home or business has suffered damages due to storms, fire, water, or theft, we have an experienced team that can help you with your insurance claim. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
I don't want an ordinary funeral. I want my life to be celebrated. I've had such a full and blessed life, and I want everyone to know it. That's how I want to be remembered. When people leave my end-of-life celebration, I want them feeling uplifted.
Contact Clark Legacy Center to plan your end-of-life celebration.
Guys, our number's way! Yeah, way! We can finally stop playing these wedding gigs and start rocking out! Hey, guys! What's going on? Lenny, I hope you got that ticket in the same place, bro! Yeah!
Ticket? The only way you can win Kentucky's Powerball or Mega Millions jackpot is if you actually buy your ticket.
All right, let's get Tim and Don on the dance floor. Whatever. Go.
Days like this are getting harder to find. We're long on life, but short on time. When I get a chance to kick back and unwind, I live for Myrtle Beach days. Myrtle Beach days got blue in the sky, not a care in the air, ocean breeze blowing by, just sitting on the sand, soaking up the sunshine. I live for Myrtle Beach days.
Central Equipment and Kubota, two names synonymous with quality. In 1982, our family business, Central Equipment, began selling Kubota equipment. Today, we've expanded our offerings to include the full line of Kubota products, from mowing and compact tractors to hay equipment, spreaders, utility vehicles, and large tractors for your farm. This season, trust the experts at Central Equipment and see the latest lineup of Kubota products with 0% financing available.
Taller grass has fewer weeds and needs less water. Mow better, Lexington.
At Bryant Heating and Cooling, your home comfort is our only mission.
That's why maintenance matters.
With spring around the corner, now's the perfect time. Schedule your preventative maintenance, just $64.95.
It's a small price to pay for peace of mind.
As we told you a little earlier, UK freshman Ty Wynyard is in Kazakhstan playing in the FIBA 18 and under 3-on-3 World Championships. Wynyard is playing with his home country New Zealand, where last year he led the Kiwis to the title, picking up the MVP award along the way. Wynyard enrolled at UK last December and redshirted, so he will be a redshirt freshman the upcoming season.
He got better, but he's got a ways to go. Ty's on a different path. You know, Isaac was on a different path. Charles was on a different path. So was Derek and Dom. I mean, they're all on different paths. And eventually, Ty's going to be a good player here. But it'll take him time. He's, you know, he's not on the same path as some of these guys, but he's, you know, physically tough and strong.
Rick Pitino held a news conference today and said the UK U of L game will be December 21st in the Center. That's the Wednesday night before Christmas. Now, as for the investigation of his program, the school has leveled self-imposed penalties, but is still waiting to hear from the NCAA. Pitino said he's not concerned about additional penalties being imposed.
I'm personally not, no. But that doesn't mean anything. That's just my feelings. I think that we've paid a very serious price. I said we're the most profitable program in the country, we're the most valuable program in the country. We paid a hefty, forgetting all the other things, the no NCAA, the limited recruiting, the sanctions, the embarrassment, everything. We've lost millions of dollars as well that you don't even realize.
The Golden State Warriors headed to the NBA Finals after completing a comeback against Oklahoma City. The Warriors were down 3-1. Steph Curry had to overcome an injury in the playoffs. He called the postseason a roller coaster.
We never lost confidence, and every game just played, with fearlessness and that confidence that we could do and get back to to the finals. However, we had to get it done. So it was just a roller coaster.
And former Wildcat Kyle Barrett back in town, this time wearing the uniform of the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Barrett, who led the SEC in hits his senior season with 82, is now an outfielder with the Hoppers. They will play Game 2 of a 3-game set with the Legends tonight. Barrett says he's had to adjust to the business of baseball, both off the field and on.
It's been a grind, every day. It's pretty monotonous, long bus rides, not the best living conditions, but still playing baseball, and that's what matters, so it's not too bad. Everything's different. Like I said, you got longer bus rides. You're not in nice airplanes, really nice buses. Everything's different. You also have a lot of cultural differences.
Playing baseball for a living. Sam Amber, back to you.
Not always easy. Thank you, Rob. The final check of your First Alert forecast is next.
Then on the CBS Evening News, a look at what's behind a recent increase in shark incidents along the country's coast.
WKYT's First Alert Weather follows you wherever you go, on TV, online, on your phone, and throughout the day on 100.1 WKQQ.
A season pass to Kentucky Kingdom is only $59.95. And with benefits like free parking and dollar drinks, a season pass pays for itself in just one visit. And enjoy the rest of the summer for free. Visit KentuckyKingdom.com or your local Kroger. 7 days left.
How do you craft the world's finest bed? It starts with luxurious materials, with attention to every detail. For quality you can feel, the same quality you've come to expect at Sleep Outfitters, where now you can save up to $600 on select Stearns & Foster mattresses. Plus, get 0% APR financing for 60 months. When you lie down on a Stearns & Foster bed, you'll appreciate everything we've put in, making it that much harder to get out. Stearns & Foster, available at Sleep Outfitters.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie Gates. This Memorial Day weekend at Toyota South, you can lease a new 2016 Camry for only $180 a month for 36 months. Or get 0% 72-month financing. We have factory fresh new 2016 Tacomas, Tundras, Highlanders, and RAV4s in stock. And during May, Toyota South will donate a new bicycle to the Kentucky Foster Adoptive Child Association with every new Toyota purchase. Toyota South is on the bypass in Richmond.
Come see what's new at Signature Furniture. You'll find incredible leather furniture from Flex Steel, America's seating specialist. If fabric sofas are more your style, you'll love the beautifully crafted pieces from which to choose. Spend more time with the family with these inviting living rooms, or make plans for everyone to gather around this beautiful dining room and get the rest you need in one of these relaxing bedrooms. That's Signature Furniture on Nicholasville Road across from Zandel Shopping Center. What's your signature?
Greatness isn't about creating one masterpiece and calling it a day. It's about challenging yourself to create a masterpiece every time. Come celebrate a half-century of innovations at the Kawasaki Golden Anniversary Sales Event. Save up to $2,500 plus 0% financing on select models at participating dealers. Visit Kawasaki.com to find a dealer near you.
Visit Kawasaki of Jackson the weekend of June 11th to test drive a new Kawasaki.
Introducing the Grilled Ham and Cheese Thick Burger. It's a burger inside a grilled ham and cheese sandwich. Only at Hardee's.
America's most anticipated coaster. Storm Chaser, our 5th coaster, only at Kentucky Kingdom. Because all that really matters is the thrill.
All right, we are getting ready for some changes. They're coming eventually, right?
We're going to steam it up a little bit next few days. You know, today's not bad. Tomorrow, upper 80s. It'll feel hotter than that with more humidity. Could be a late day thunderstorm. Better chance on Thursday than some scattered stuff through the weekend. Temperature trend, though, is down this weekend into next week. First full week of June looks to be a little on the cool side.
Give the AC a little break later this week?
I think so, especially early next week. Yep.
That will be good. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We will see you back here at 11.